Guys, after subscribing to this channel, please make sure that you also press the bell icon so that no notification, no new video of mine, any educational video, is missed by anybody.
Yeah, this we've already told you. Why do we need the higher dose? Especially if the patient is on valproate carbamazepine, you know that there is more chance of NTD and cardiac defects. Make sure. All right. Then I have anti-seizure medication and their risk profile. We'll come back to that later. All right, Anshu, back to you. So I was trying to tell you that this is what happens in the first trimester. And the NTNB scan which was done was fine, but the levels of the anti-epileptic medication or the anti-seizure medications were done. And what was that? It was a well in control, something like
Well
that,
controlled.
right? Okay. All right. So let's go to the next slide. This was about the first trimester. It's extremely important. Mostly the first and the last trimester are extremely important. Yes. Anything important here?
She was taking the anti-epileptic drug regularly.
Really,
Folic acid and calcium was taken. Anomaly scan was normal. And there was no increased frequency or seizure in the second trimester.
Okay. Good. I don't know, the slides are not changing themselves. Yeah.
Serum levetiracetam done at 20 weeks were within normal in therapeutic range, and other blood tests were also normal.
See, now here we are doing LFT, RFT. Do you know the importance of them? Because she's continuously taking some medication, which is not a normal antenatal vitamin, isn't it? So we have to get our LFTs and KFTs done. Do you know that all these anti-epileptic drugs or any drug taken regularly will finally affect the liver and kidneys? Such a long-term standing drug, you have to keep seeing the liver and kidneys. Correct? Yes. All right. Third trimester.
Now she is 32 weeks, 4 days and continues to feel adequate fetal movement and no change in seizure frequency and no history of pain abdomen. Not so far in third trimester.
Yes. All right. So this is all right. I'll just take it up. There's normal menstrual cycles, regular. Obstetric history, this is a first pregnancy. And this is very important. She's been on 5 years. Okay. And she's almost had it controlled, except for a breakthrough seizure recently. Nobody in the family has epilepsy. Patient is consuming a normal diet. Bowel bladder habits are normal. No other issues. She's not on any addiction. Extremely important history. And very important here will be the CNS examination. Apart from the systemic examination, you'll have a CNS examination, which has to be very important right over here. So we say that there is no focal neurological deficits, no paresthesias, no numbness, right? And maybe you can check a few reflexes over here. Deep latent reflex will be normal. And you can check for the visual acuity. That's normal. She's not having any peripheral defects, no vision disturbances. All these things you can speak, right? So this is one thing that you can say. And she's post-ictal right now, correct?
Yes,
Anshu? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So if she's a post-ictal patient, then we have to make sure that she's currently in which state, right? So she was dizzy and all. So we now, as far as we are concerned, as a gynecologist, we will stick to our domain, and here we need to see whether the baby is having any compromised growth. So the baby is about 32 weeks, which I think is corresponding to the dates, and it's a cephalic lie, I guess. Right. To be evaluated for seizure control and obstetric management. This is about the case, right? So if I ask that now the patient has been brought with one episode of seizure, breakthrough seizure, how are you going to manage this patient? So the first answer will be, we'd like to admit this patient for further investigations and management, and to see the seizure control, whether the seizure control is there or not. And if she has another breakthrough seizure, we are there to help. That's very important. Plus the baby monitoring. We last time, whenever she's had an ultrasound, we'd like to check that as well. And we'd like to see for the baby's growth. Baseline investigations, if she's had recently got done a CBC, LFT, KFT, there's no need to get it repeated, but you need to get one very important test repeated, which is the level of anti-epileptic medication, whether it is in the therapeutic range of why did she have a breakthrough seizure. And if she's been regular, compliant, what could be the other reasons that she can have a breakthrough seizure? Anybody? Anamika, would you like to try? Why would she have a breakthrough seizure if she was compliant? As she said in her history, that she was compliant. She did not forget taking the anti-epileptic medication. When she's been taking it regularly for 5 years, how can she suddenly forget in pregnancy when it is a high risk situation? Correct? Anamika, do you have any idea? Why would the levels of anti-epileptic medication suddenly change when she's been compliant?
Ma'am, maybe she's taking some medicine, some other medicine
Very good.
that
Very good. Possibility.
that
Yeah,
that
that.
could decrease the efficacy of the
Hmm.
anti-epileptic drug.
Yeah. So usually, do you know which are the enzyme inducers in the anti-epileptic? I have this table for you. Do you know which ones are enzyme inducers amongst them? These two. Oxycarbamazepine, carbamazepine, not topiramate, phenobarbital. These are all enzyme inducers. So they will induce the enzymes. That means they will decrease the level of any other drug. As far as lamotrigine and levetiracetam is concerned, I think what I remember is that they were enzyme inhibitors. So there is a possibility that their level gets changed in the presence of other. But this combination or this fact that they are taking some other enzyme inducers which has reduced their efficacy is a possibility. Number one. That's the other possibility. Why would a sudden change be there? It's very easy, guys. That's why I'm asking you. Had it been difficult, I would have answered myself. Anamika, any idea? Umesh? What hormone? I'll tell you. The reason could be maybe she had diarrhea, maybe she had a vomiting episode immediately after taking the drug, maybe she has been having diarrhea. Okay, so these are few issues in which she can have, despite taking the drug regularly, there is a change in the drug level in the body. Now let me tell you the safety profile of each and every anti-epileptic or anti-seizure medicines, ASM. Okay. Very important. Lamotrigine, the MCM means major congenital malformation risk, is less than 3% if she's taking a monotherapy of lamotrigine. You've not been found with any significant impairment. And it's a preferred first choice when it is appropriate. Levels, they fall by about 40 to 60% pregnancy. So you might need to increase the dose of lamotrigine. You might use it postpartum. Very important. Be particular drug. Lamotrigine is very one of the same way. Levetiracetam is also very, very favorite of everyone. Again, the CM is less than 3% is a preferred first. Also fall in pregnancy. There is no interaction with levetiracetam and lamotrigine, let me tell you that. And there is no interaction as well. So you can give it along with it. Well, you can't give oxycodone and carbamazepine, enzyme inducers. It's both of enzyme inducers. Both of them have a higher risk of MCM, that is major congenital malformation. Use with caution. It's not preferred. Neural tube defect is a cardiac defect. Sodium valproate. Sodium valproate drug is the risk is 10 to 12%. Now, in all females of reproductive, we do not get valproate is one of the highest in major congenital malformations. But she's already on valproic acid, status epilepticus. For me, status epilepticus. I will not. What? Am I not audible? Am I not audible? Can you hear me? Thank you. So, yeah. What is status epilepticus? Answer I need. Yeah. You can't hear me? Oh, Now can you hear me? It's breaking. Then I have to switch class. Hear me? I'm not speaking anything right now. Am I? No. Because there's no problem in network from my side. It's showing full network. Because if I stop now, guys, it will go. So you try to join back again. Umesh, can you hear me? Is my voice breaking? Umesh, can you hear me? Is my voice breaking currently also? Not audible. Now clear. Okay, all right. So it's clear now. I'll not stop the presentation, because then in that case, it will be like starting the, you'll have 2-3 videos for one presentation. All right, coming back to so status epilepticus is when you have recurrent epilepsy seizures. Okay, recurrent, it's not stopping. So you need to give drugs, and multiple drugs perhaps, to stop the seizures. All right. Now, then you have drugs like topiramate, and you have phenobarbital. Again, the same thing. They have risk factors of about more than that of, levetiracetam or lamotrigine. I will not want to give it to my patient. She's already on that. I like to switch it over, right? These are enzyme inducers as well. Phenobarbital, not topiramate. The topiramate is also one of the, yes, enzyme inducers. Yeah. Now coming down to the special problem which Valproate has. So Valproate must not be used in women of childbearing potential unless all of the following are in place: confirmed, not currently pregnant, annual review, patient has signed an acknowledgement card confirming the risks. And this is, the pregnancy prevention program. It's run in UK, Europe, and a lot of studies are there on epilepsy in pregnancy. Now Indians have realized that how common this disorder is and how many patients usually are with epilepsy, and they are currently on medication. So how to cater to these women? Otherwise, they did not know. With the advent of so many courses, especially with fetal maternal medicine, more insight into the difficulties of pregnancy, we have more, what do I say, responsibility, awareness, and management options. Right. So never start valproic acid for the first time in pregnant women, and we need to follow proper recommendations for patients who are already on valproic acid. So this is a very important part. Now, and how will you manage a patient who's already into pregnancy and she's on an anti-epileptic? So I think I spoke all about this thing to you, that you need to confirm the diagnosis, that it should be epilepsy and should not be any non-epileptic attack disorder. There's a term called NEAD. NEAD mimics epilepsy and the treatment is completely different. So need to make sure that this is in fact epilepsy. It's focal epilepsy or it's generalized epilepsy. Okay. Review all current anti-seizure medicines that she's on, the recent levels, dosage, drugs, and compliance history. You need to take a complete detailed history of how much drug she was taking and whether she's got any side effects with it. How has she been doing in the past 1 year especially? And then she needs to, in combination with a joint referral epilepsy clinic. We don't have that, but we do have the specialists who are dealing with epilepsy. Then you monitor the monthly levels of the anti-epileptic or anti-seizure medication. You might need a neurology review in between. Of course, we need to have a complete, proper, detailed anomaly scan as well as an anti-NB scan. Very important. Then coming down to monitoring during pregnancy for any defects, any external problems like cardiac issues, neural tube disorders, or cleft palate. Growth scan every 4 weeks from 28 weeks onwards, because they are exposed to the anti-epileptic drugs. They can cause fetal growth restriction in some studies. Continue folic acid, high dose folic acid throughout pregnancy. How will you manage this patient in labor? Okay. How will you manage this patient in labor? Okay. Continue all anti-epileptics in labor. Do not omit any doses. And if she's not able to take it orally, you might arrange an IV equivalent to the same. So you do have levetiracetam IV, you do have phenytoin IV. Okay, but IV giving, you understand, you have to be very, very specific with the patient and you have to monitor it properly. Certainly the dose, the drip rate should not go high or low. IV access is anyways mandatory for any patient who's in labor and who is a patient of epilepsy. Why? Because suddenly she can have a seizure at any point in time. That time will not start searching for the peripheral veins to give any blood. So IV access is mandatory. You might have to have lorazepam, diazepam, phenytoin. These drugs should be ready in your OT. Epidural you can give, okay? Continuous CTG in active labor, and we do not use pethidine, okay? Because that reduces the seizure threshold at high doses. Okay, and if you have to use any, these opioids, fentanyl or morphine can be used. We do not use pethidine. Pethidine is not used. Then mode of delivery, vaginal is preferred. LSC is only for obstetrics. That means that epilepsy is no condition or indication for normal cesarean delivery. You can go ahead. If seizures they occur during labor, despite on being anti-epileptic medications, please remember to give lorazepam 4 mg IV. Make sure that you have had this vision of eclampsia at any point in time patient is having any seizure. Then assess the fetal status urgently because a baby can die in utero at any point in time. How do you do the acute seizure management in pregnancy? So you first need to have a differential like eclampsia, cerebral venous thrombosis, especially first seizure in pregnancy. Eclampsia, cerebral venous thrombosis, hypoglycemia, non-epileptic attack disorder, and of course, metabolic encephalopathy because of dyselectrolemia we've already spoken about. So how will you manage it? I told you. Remember this drug, lorazepam 4 mg IV. Lorazepam 4 mg IV, that's the drug of choice. If you say that, examiner will be happy. And they may ask you. Alternatively, diazepam can be given 10 mg IV. If seizure continues, you can continue with IV phenytoin 15 to 18 mg per kg by slow infusion. And status epilepticus, rapid sequence intubation, HDU admission, and if she's not responding, maybe you might need propofol thiopentol for induction and just deliver her out. Postpartum management, I told you already, you might have to change the level of the anti-epileptic drugs that you were giving before because lamotrigine, levetiracetam, which were the most favored drugs during pregnancy, their level starts rising postpartum. So we need to alter the drug dose. They might cause toxicity if they are not reduced. So they can cause ataxia, diplopia. So that means giving more is also dangerous, less is also dangerous. So you need to reduce lamotrigine and levetiracetam to pre-pregnancy dosages. Okay. Now, check the levels of anti-seizure medicines at 2 to 4 weeks postpartum and again at 6 to 8 weeks. And make sure that you are talking and this patient is seeing the neurologist by 4 to 6 weeks postnatal. Major trigger of epilepsy is sleep deprivation, which usually happens postpartum. So make sure that she's having a good support at home, she gets full sleep, and she's not having a nighttime heavy schedule. Breastfeeding is encouraged, but preferably on the floor. All the other things that I told you, remember that. Do you know the contraception that can be given? For enzyme-inducing agents, we do not give OCPs. So in that case, we can give, barrier method plus OCP, you can use for majority of your anti-epileptic drugs, which are lamotrigine, levetiracetam, okay, or Valproate also. That's not an enzyme inducer. But if you are using an enzyme inducer, in that case, copper D would be better. That's about it mostly. So there are certain enzyme-inducing medications that also accelerate vitamin K metabolism. In those cases, there is a possibility of neonatal coagulopathy. So these drugs, if you were giving carbamazepine, phenytoin, phenobarbital, primidone, carbamazepine, oxycarbamazepine, all these, make sure that the baby gets vitamin K 1 milligram to the newborn. That's all you need to know about epilepsy. It was easy, wasn't it? Yes, guys. So now you know how to handle a Viva on epilepsy. It's not something major. It's very, very obvious, easy. At least you'll not be absolutely alien to this topic. Okay, any questions? Anyone with any questions?